You are listening to the BlahCade Pinball Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Freebus, aka Shut Your Trap. Joining me as always, halfway across the world, Jared Morgan.
Guten Tag.
Oh, German today, huh? Okay.
Yeah, indeed.
You say so. You know how you're always throwing out, if I throw out a temperature, then you try and do the conversion into Celsius and all that jazz.
Yes.
Well, the states right now, if you looked at a map of what the weather looks like, all 50 states are just red because it's
So what is it, like 100 degrees over there?
Yesterday in my city in Southern California, it was 113 degrees, which is 45 Celsius. See, I almost made you spit your coffee out once I threw it into the Celsius, and you could actually, didn't have to do the conversion. Today, it's a balmy 99, which is 37 degrees Celsius.
Wow, that's very hot. That's subtropical temperatures we would get over here.
Well, the beautiful thing about Southern California is, but it's a dry heat. we don't have the humidity here. But oh my God, if you were anywhere else, it would be miserable because the moisture in the air.
Basically, us in summer.
Yeah.
Is how that would be. So yeah.
Yeah.
Rather unpleasant. But dry heat is okay. You just feel like you're in a blast furnace.
Well,
that's fine.
What's interesting is because there's a slight breeze, it's not terrible. As I described it, there's two different types of heat here, where sometimes it's, it's hot, but it's not terrible. And then there's when the air is just still, and so you feel like you're in an oven. And that's miserable.
And not a fan-forced oven. So if you've got the breeze, it's like a fan-forced oven.
Exactly.
But, it's not. It's just like a big fire pit, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's basically it's been hey, why don't we just not leave the house?
Let's just stay right here. Otherwise, when we go outside, we will literally burn to a crisp.
It's also good.
We'll dehydrate.
Of course, when you do leave the house, well, hey, it's good Slurpee weather. So
absolutely, it would be good sleep.
And friendly neighborhood reminder here, folks. For those of us in the United States where we use our date where it's
backwards
month and then day and then year, 7-Eleven is right around the corner. That's when you get your free Slurpees. So,
oh yeah, true. Is it though? In November?
For you, it's in November. For us, it's here in July.
Because that's right.
Our date reads 7/11/28,
which means the 11th of July. Yeah, true.
As opposed to yours, where it's 11/7. So
because it's summer, which would make sense. No one wants to sleep in winter.
No.
Although the thing is that really in Brisbane, there is no such thing as winter. We had last week, we had about a couple of days of quite chilly weather that meant that we had to put on like what I'm wearing now, which is basically a jacket.
Yeah.
And in the mornings, really, and in the lunchtime, you could actually just walk around the city and not have a jacket on. But that's about it. And then maybe in August, when the westerly winds come in from the outback and they bring in all the colder air in from the outback, that's when it can get a little bit chilly as well. It's around the Royal National Show, which is like our agricultural show. Yes, we have an agricultural show here in Brisbane. And it's big. It's a big deal. It's got like, the whole sideshow and rides and, animals. And I think there is even some farm equipment and stuff there. I don't know why they bring that in, but they do. So the city folk can see what the farm equipment looks like. It gets chilly.
See, I always joke that here in Southern California, we don't have traditional seasons. We have the wildfire season.
Yeah.
And then we have maybe a week of winter. Yeah. And then it's followed by mudslide season.
Yeah.
And then we have summer, which lasts probably, 6 months. And then there's Oscar season.
Oscar season,
and then it repeats. So
Oscar season. I like that. Hey, before we kick off, because I know we got some interesting things to discuss in the show.
Yes, we do.
I did the pinball tournament at Brisbane Pinball Club last week, and I had a pretty good night actually of it. I got fourth. I had a tiebreaker for third, and unfortunately lost because it was Creature from the Black.
I was going to say, what table was that on? Oh,
Creature. It was Creature, my nemesis. But man, I was doing real good on all of the tables that meet me up there. But there was someone there that I have heard of on podcasts of the past I used to listen to, and I actually got to meet her. It's Jessica Lee Donato, and Jessica is the person who runs Bells and Chimes over in the US.
Oh, okay.
So she's the group that looks at helping women get into the fun of pinball and break down barriers, of what a lot of the time is pretty male dominated activity. So she's actually had a bit of a rough trot recently. She got made redundant from her job, and one of Australia's nicest pinball people, Dr. John Cosson, who has a colossal collection in his house, about 90 tables. He said, "Why don't you just come down to Australia on a temporary holiday visa and stay with me in Australia?" So she's down here for 3 months, enjoying the sun.
Wow.
And keeping because not really enjoying the sun. Well, she is on the Gold Coast, so yeah, technically would be enjoying the sun and having a great time. So it was great to meet her in person.
Cool.
Yeah, the other day. She's really cool.
Folks, in case you're wondering what activity's been going on recently, now that we don't have the license issues you talk about, if you've tried to go over to pinballarcadefans.com, the fan forum that we frequent and live on quite a lot, and that Jared and I are moderators on, along with a few others, you will have noticed that there has been a name change. It is now digitalpinballfans.com.
Yes, it is.
Now, I need to make that clear, because if you are using Tapatalk for doing this, you might be having some issues connecting to it. And I believe those are trying to be taken care of internally, but somebody also, or maybe it was you, Jared, I'm not sure, had a workaround.
For Tapatalk, yeah, what you do is you just go and search for Digital Pinball Fans, and it'll come up. It doesn't have a logo or anything at the moment, which is a topic for another thing, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to get into that too.
So it's logoless, but it just has this word sort of logo at the moment, which is fine. So all you do is you sign up using your same credentials. You log in using your same credentials, because the only thing that's changed is the domain name. So everything else is the same. The structure is the same.
Yep.
It's just literally a domain name change. So go into Tapatalk, do a search, find the new forum, and join it. Now, what's been happening for me, though, which is quite strange, is that when I've been looking at posts that have been coming in, they've still been coming in under the old Pinball Arcade Fans Tapatalk profile, and not the new Digital Pinball Fans profile. So I don't know what's going on there. It must be like the plugin is actually doing both, because it's on the same domain or the same IP range or something like that. So either one seems to be working at the moment. Like I can go to Pinball Arcade Fans Tapatalk and Digital Pinball Fans Tapatalk, and both work for now. But it might be worthwhile just setting up the other profile just to make sure that you don't get cut off.
Because I know all my email notifications have been coming in as Digital Pinball Fans now. So
yeah. I think because it's a plugin that you actually install on the site, I think it goes past the domain name. So I don't know, Gord. I think the only reason why he actually has Tapatalk on there is for me and a few other Android people who actually use it. I don't think it's actually used that much at all. It is a good way of browsing forums in general, but it's a very quick way to do it on the run. But yeah, otherwise it seems to be working all right. So.
And for those wondering why the name change, basically there's been, it's kind of a combination of things. With the reduced activity in Pinball Arcade regarding tables being released, I mean, it's been since Bonsai Run since the last table was released, and we don't even know when the next table is being released. But it'd be a combination of reduced content coming from them, and then just playing the rise of so many other digital pinball games available to play in the various discussions. There's going to be basically a slight reorganization, and Zen is going to get a little bit more space to spread out, probably similarly to how currently, if you look, the tables there's forum sections divided up by, say, Bally Williams and Stern and Gottlieb. The same thing's probably being discussed that with Zen that might also happen in terms of
Like
Marvel
Marvel.
tables, Star Wars tables.
Yeah.
Basically how they're divided up right now in FX3. So that'll kind of expand, make it a little easier to find conversations that you're looking to have. But also just giving a little more equal time to other digital pinball fans, because it's amazing how much non-Pinball Arcade talk happens on Pinball Arcade fans.
Yeah, there's like sub forums with a lot more activity than the actual table forums.
Yeah.
And so I think it makes a lot of sense to actually rephrase or reframe what the forum actually is for.
Exactly. So it's just kind of expanding the palette, if you will. Now, as for the logo, the current logo is basically the Pinball Arcade logo with the word fans written to the side of it. So Gord is looking for new logos for the site. And there actually is a thread regarding this. Currently, there is only one person volunteering their services, and it would be great if we had other options also to choose from. So if you are somebody that fancies yourself capable of making a logo, here's the challenge. Now, I've done 2 of our logos for this website, and this last go around with the logo, it was just me and Jared discussing, and I did something like 80 different variations, and we were going back and forth on it for probably 2 to 3 weeks.
Yep.
And that was just us.
Yeah.
So you put it into a public forum, and all of a sudden you get every Yahoo with an opinion throwing one out at you. So you are going to need a little bit of thick skin. That's for sure.
But any designer who knows what they're doing and who has a passion for pinball will have this thick skin on them already.
Now, the other thing, and this is something that I've noticed just with what's being produced, and I've noticed this on many different pinball sites, they all kind of go for the same look, which is throw in a pop bumper, throw in some flippers. Hell, even our logo has, a flipper and a ball on it.
We do.
But it's amazing how old-timey it winds up looking. There's nothing fresh and exciting about it. Now, flip the script even more. We need digital pinball. How do you translate that? And, when you start looking at just logos in general, it's amazing how many logos are simple font with not an image, but a graphic of some sort that conveys that thought of what the thing is. And so, if you look at digital, there's a lot of, breaking up of pixels or circuitry, anything of that nature. So it's something that I would like to see within a logo, something that really sells the digital aspect. It's logos are graphic design. They're different than illustration design. And to the uninitiated, they tend to lump both of those in together, and they're completely separate things. And within graphic design, fonts are a completely separate entity from that. So obviously I don't expect any professional graphic designers to kick in, but hey, if you are one, you want to throw your hat into the ring, please do so.
Unfortunately, graphic designers also like to be paid.
Yeah, they do, especially if it's going to live on the site for a while.
Exactly. And I would expect that if someone was going to create a logo for the site, that there should be some form of payback for them. Because otherwise it's just like the amount of work they're going to put into this, as you've said, with like the hundreds of people weighing in, it's going to be a mission to do. I certainly wouldn't take it up if I was a professional logo, a graphic designer, because it's thankless work.
And I wouldn't throw it out to the peanut gallery just yet. I would be sending messages to Gord.
Absolutely.
Gord Lacey is the site owner, in case you guys are wondering who the heck we're talking about. And I would just be firing personal messages off to him and be like, what do you think of this, until you finally get kind of like in the ballpark.
You're the owner of the site. I'm working with you. Everyone else. That unfortunately, ideas and thoughts are cheap. Everyone has them. So Yeah.
So, and it's one of those things where, man, you see these things every day. They look like they're the easiest things in the world. I mean,
Oh,
come
they're
on,
not.
it's a silhouette of an apple with a bite taken out of it. How long did that take to draw up? Couldn't have taken long at all. I can whip that up in my sleep. Sure, you can.
I found out the other day. There's for Australian customers that listen to the podcast and who are banking with a certain bank. We've got a couple of people who used to work for a particular bank in their past, and this particular logo that they were talking about for the bank has stuff in it that no mere mortal would even know was in there.
Yeah.
For example, like there's a halo around one of the objects in the sun motive, and it just looks like a normal halo, but it's actually made up of 8,000 dots, and each dot represents one of the branches or one of the customers or something like that. Or no, it's like more than that. It's like a large quantity of dots, and you wouldn't even know. Like you cannot see it in print, you cannot see it on TV. But if you are part of the company that has this logo, it's part of your brand DNA. So a logo says a lot, not just about what you can see, but what it actually embodies as well. So yeah, they're non-trivial.
There is a documentary series on Netflix called Abstract: The Art of Design. And they have two particular episodes that really kind of key into this. One of them is it's the very first episode, is about an illustrator and what he goes through with illustration. And then the other one is about a graphic designer. And that one hems closer to what it is like to make a logo. But what is interesting about both of them, and actually, if you watch the entire series, most of the people say the exact same thing. It is all about editing to simplicity. It is throwing out absolutely every unnecessary detail right up until the point before you completely destroy what your image is. Yeah. So just leaving the bare minimum that conveys exactly what you want to convey.
Less is more.
Oh, and it is... The illustrator guy really talks about it and shows it well. That he had an entire class, and he kind of shows his notebooks of, here's what my first illustration looked like, and then my teacher just slammed me, and here's what the final result. And you just like, oh my god, it's amazing how much better. The first one you're like, oh, that's really good, and then you see the finished product, and you're like, not even competition. Yeah. So it's quite fascinating. Again, they make it look so easy, and it is so difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not even the difficulty of manipulating the programs. It's just the design aspect that's difficult.
I heard something the other day on a podcast that, I think it was actually a pinball podcast where one of the designers at Stern was saying, look, kids, if you think you can do great design and art with a computer program, you're wrong. You're actually better off just starting with pen and paper and learning how to actually do art before you try and throw in a program, because the program's not going to make you better. You still need the fundamentals. It's not going to magically unlock this amazing skill that you have. You still got to have the skill to start with. So, yeah, I found that interesting. Not unusual, just the fact that, people don't get that.
No. So let's move into something else that's rather interesting that just popped up onto my radar. Apparently, Steam accidentally leaked some information. And what this is it's user information in terms of who's downloaded what game, or how many times a game has been downloaded. And somebody else then went ahead and extrapolated more information and put it together into real, actual usable numbers to look at. What this is based on is unique downloads with games that have achievements that were designed by the developer. So there's something of the nature of 23,000 games available on Steam, and this only accounts for 13,000 of those games that are available.
Wow.
Yeah. So this gives us kind of an idea of, and all I did was Jared will post the information of where this thread was and where you yourself can download this information.
Yeah.
He'll post it in the show notes. But I imported it into a spreadsheet so I could quickly look, and I then was able to search through that spreadsheet because I wasn't going to look at all 13,000 names. I just typed the words pinball, and anytime a pinball was in the title of the game, it popped up, and so I discovered then a whole bunch of new pinball games. But to see how many people are using them, in this unique downloads, it doesn't say if the game has been played or if it was just somebody downloaded it and that was it. It doesn't give usage of the game, any of that nature. It's just purely
raw downloads.
Raw downloads.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you're curious to know what the number one downloaded game on Steam is right now, it's Team Fortress 2 with over 50 million downloads.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot. But that's not surprising. Team Fortress is very popular.
It's followed by Counter-Strike, something called Player Unknown. I don't know that. Unturned, Left 4 Dead 2, Payday 2, Warframe, Counter-Strike again, another Counter-Strike. So a lot of your first-person and multi-shooters. The other thing to notice is that there's plenty of games that were out before achievements were available in Steam. So it doesn't count any of those.
When did achievements actually become a thing?
Somebody, I believe, said they were like 2008, 2010, somewhere around there.
Okay, yeah.
So in the thread that this was posted on Digital Pinball Fans, one of the questions was, there's no way that Portal 2, which has 13 million downloads, has more downloads than Half-Life 2, which only has 8 million downloads. And I kind of went, well, that's perfectly possible because I've never played Half-Life in my life, but I've played both Portal games and have both of them, so it's more than possible. But he's right in terms of when Half-Life came out originally, how many people downloaded it. And that was pre-achievements.
Yeah, it's true.
So, but who cares about those games? We want to know about pinball.
Yeah, exactly.
As
our name suggests. Exactly.
So this was really kind of fascinating to look at. Pinball Arcade winds up is the leader of the board here. It came in at number 545 on the list.
Right.
With 555,716 unique downloads on Steam.
Right. And that would be pretty much dead accurate because the game was released after 2008.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or 2010, sorry.
Now, interestingly enough, Steam is not the number one platform for Pinball Arcade. PS4 currently is. So, and then I believe it's probably iOS. Yeah, I think it's iOS next. And then I think Android, and then Steam. So
500,000 downloads.
500,000 downloads. What's
it sounds better than 545,000, doesn't it? Half a million.
It does. Sounds pretty good, yeah. What is interesting is that in Steam right now, you cannot buy any DLC. So DLC is only available in-game.
Oh, right. So they've completely taken all DLC off the shelf.
It's completely off the shelf, and I did not see any ability to buy any of the Gottlieb packs or anything, or the Stern packs.
Steam content. It's all in-game.
Exactly. So, moving on, the next pinball title is Pinball FX3, which is almost a year old now.
Yes.
That comes in at 2,263rd.
Wow. Okay.
It only has 66,500 downloads.
Wow.
I really thought was surprising, but it's only been out for a year. And I'll tell you right now, I was not able to find FX2 anywhere on the list.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's... Well, I believe it's been completely pulled from Steam. You can't download FX2 anymore. Or can you?
I don't know. I think you would probably have to if you still got licenses for it.
Oh, if you still have licenses for it, that's fine. But I don't know if you can download the game itself. I should look that up at some point. But anyway...
I know that the FX2 VR you can obviously get.
Yes, and that's on the list here. We'll get to that. What is interesting, though, if you want to buy all the DLC for FX3, it's going to run you $220 currently.
At the moment, because it's not on discount, unless you were smart like me and doubled down and got everything on discount, which is what I did. Yep. Except for the Balls of Glory pack, because I really quite dislike that pack. I haven't whatsoever. It can stay unbought for me.
Which is funny because we've now done 3 of the 4 tables in my weekly tournament. We just finished American Dad. Yeah. It's kind of funny. Okay, so right behind Pinball FX3 at 2,660th on the list is Zaccaria Pinball with almost 49,000 downloads.
Well, good on you, Zaccaria. That's not bad.
Not bad at all. And if you wanted to buy the Platinum pack currently, which is half off at the very moment, it would run you $78 to get all those tables. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning these table prices is because these are the expensive ones.
Yeah.
What follows on the list winds up varying in price greatly and goes significantly cheaper.
Yeah.
So the next table that was or next in line for Pinball in terms of downloads, coming in with 18,400 downloads, Steampunk Pinball 2D, which I kind of went, what's that? It's a $1.99 app. I took a look at it, and it is very Super Nintendo in looks.
Yeah.
It's when they say 2D, they mean 2D, and they're embracing that wholeheartedly. Yeah. It's a top-down view. Yeah. Definitely not my kind of game, but it's still surprising that it has that many downloads.
Well, it's because it's $1.99.
Because of $1.99, probably.
And people will buy on price, even if it's a crap game. Like I think I downloaded this game called Jets and Guns 2, which is a shoot 'em up, and I had all sorts of problems getting the thing to run, even on the computer.
Yeah.
Because it's just so old, it doesn't do resolutions properly, and it you go full screen, it actually goes outside the screen canvas and stuff like that. It's just horrible to actually get set up, and I just kind of given up on it. But it was $1.99 on sale, and I went, okay. Like shoot 'em ups. How bad could it be? Turns out pretty bad.
But
it's $2. I could deal with that.
So sticking the landing in the top 5 would be the Stern Pinball Arcade, with significantly less downloads though. 9,877.
Well, even less than a 2D pinball game,
right? By half.
That's a bit brutal.
By half.
Oh.
But as you were mentioning, price. If you want all 11 tables that are in the Stern app, $70. That's what it's going to run you. That's
damn.
That's a chunk of change right there.
Sure is.
Right.
I can imagine that one's going to be even less and less and less.
Yeah.
If what I've seen in the Android beta, which we'll go into later, is any indication.
Yep.
Yes.
Coming in behind that would be Pinball FX2 VR with 7,127, which I got to say, that's pretty impressive for VR. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually not bad at all.
Entry price on that is going to be $15, and then there's 3 more DLC packs after that, which will, when all said and done, I think it wound up being like around $60,
right,
for everything else like that. But hey, if you're into VR, you're going to want content, so you're probably
that's right. And this is like something really nice on VR if you've got a Oculus Rift.
Now, coming in next is something I don't know how I feel about. It's called Hyperspace Pinball. It's got 6,700 downloads. It'll cost you $2.99. And it's a top-down pinball with very minimal layout, but it's vector graphics. And when I say vector graphics, it means it's kind of like if you imagine asteroids with the meteorites floating around. Yeah. That's what's happening. Everything that you're shooting at is floating and bouncing within the table.
Right.
It says it has 20 levels, but every single level, the flippers are in the exact same spot. There's 2 at the bottom and 2 kind of 3/4 of the way up the table. And all that happens is, oh, look, there's now 2 pop bumpers Oh, now there's 3 pop bumpers. Oh, hey, look, there's a lane up there at the top. So it's kind of...
It looks like it's building the table in front of your eyes, each level.
Yeah, but it's so minimal that I don't know if I can get on board with it. And it's very video game-esque in that you're basically shooting these things that are floating, and it's not traditional pinball in the least. Of course, they're not advertising as traditional pinball, but
yeah.
After that, we have something called Malsby's Pinball Collection.
Malsby's Pinball Collection.
Malsby's Pinball Collection.
I have not even heard of that in my
right?
search of pinball.
It's got 6,500 downloads. It'll run you $8 for the 4 tables that it has. They are 3D, like you would see in Pinball Arcade or Zen, but they are very flat looking. There's not much texture going on, if you will, and the table angles that you're able to look at, it just looks compressed, and I don't know, it's very, very odd looking to me, very sparse. It looks like somebody trying to do what Pinball Arcade and Zen and Zaccaria do, and not quite coming close.
Oh, I could see that. I'm having a look at the screenshots now. They're sort of, wow, everything looks very flat.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's 3D, but very flat. It's odd.
Well, except for some tables. Like, some tables have actually got decent perspective in them, but wow.
Like the lighting isn't well. There's no shadow detail. It just is there.
I'll tell you, I've seen worse on Android. So
true.
This is okay.
Now this next one might be right up your alley here, Jared. Mm-hmm. It's called ASC2 Game Series Pinball, and it's basically pinball done with ASC2 graphics.
Right.
So it looks like like a dot matrix printing.
Oh wow, really?
It's black and white. I don't think the physics are probably very good at all. It's the kind of thing that if you remember playing Snake on your old Nokia phone, it would have been like that.
Wow, I'm just looking it up on the mobile now. Oh wow, yeah, wow. Okay. I love how it has a rolling demo, and the rolling demo is all in ASCII. Even the logo is in like ASCII dots. That looks terrible.
So that'll run you a whole whopping 99 cents.
That's
probably asking too much.
Way too much. Oh my goodness.
Following that, we have Liquid Pinball with a little over 4,000 downloads. And this essentially is if you took a square board and you had a couple of obstacles on it, and then you put some mercury, liquid mercury on the table, and you were trying to manipulate it into a drain. So,
right.
It's pinball in the loosest sense of the word.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, I see.
But it's still kind of pinball. I don't know. It's
not even, no, it's not pinball.
You say no to, you say, okay.
Well, that's absolutely not pinball. Pinball. That's just someone trying to cash in on the pinball craze at the moment.
All right. So that's your top 10, folks.
Wow.
That's your
What about
10.
things like, I mean,
we're getting there.
Oh.
Right after that, we get Yoku's Island, which I'm including as pinball.
Yeah, that's definitely pinball. Like that is truly pinball.
Yoku's Island has looks like 3,909 downloads, which isn't bad considering it's only been out 2 months, I believe.
It's pretty new, yeah.
It's pretty new. It'll still run you $20.
Yeah, it will.
But it's a pretty good game. I enjoyed it. And so that's coming in at number 11. After that, we have something that just makes my eyes hurt, which is called Zombie Pinball. And the reason why it makes my eyes hurt is it's again top-down pinball, but it's like they went, oh, who wants this long, narrow cabinet? Screw that. That's not the shape of pinball. Let's make it wide like your monitor so that we can fill up the entire thing. And let's make all sorts of lanes that you have to shoot into rather than having an open area. And let's have zombies then overlay over the top of your, like they're invading your screen itself, and lots of bright flashers and all sorts of things that'll make your eyes just want to puke.
Right. No, thank you.
No, thank you. After that, something we've talked about on the show before, Snowball.
Yep.
That has 2,600 downloads. Runs you at $2.99. I'm not a fan. I don't like the look of it at all. But Jared said
it'd be better than that zombie game, mate. I can tell you that much. It'd be better than that horrible whatever the thing was, like ASCII pinball.
Right.
I can tell you that. So yeah, get Shrek'd.
Next up, we got Momonga Pinball Adventure.
Oh, that's a lot of fun.
It looks a lot like Yoku's Island Express, except for it's more 3D in its presentation.
It's not side scroller. It's not side scroller. No, Momonga is something I've had on mobile for a long time, and it is a short game for someone who's okay at pinball. But it's a really fun. It's got a lot of different elements in it. Like you do have a pinball aesthetic with the Momonga, which is like a little sort of a pandery thing, and it rolls up into a ball. The thing that frustrates me a little bit with on that game is that the ball, when Momonga is actually the ball shape, it takes a while to get rolling. So if you've got the ball trapped and you're trying to line up a shot, you drop the flipper and the ball really starts rolling slowly and then starts picking up speed. So it doesn't really have an accurate sort of weight physics to it.
Okay.
And you really got to do everything on a rolling shot, which is how I think the game is designed to be played. But as a pinball head, you tend to want to trap. So apart from that, though, how much does that run you?
$6.
Oh, it'd be worth it for $6.
And it came in with just over 1,700 downloads.
It's fun. I would get it if you haven't actually tried it on mobile.
Now, I am shocked at how low this one is coming in next. Pinball Wicked.
Oh,
Pinball Wicked only has 1,137 downloads, folks.
Oh, jeez.
Now, I gotta wonder if it was because of the price. Currently you can pick it up for $10. That might have scared a lot of people.
And I did.
My God, it is a gorgeous looking table. It runs on the Unreal Engine, and the lighting is phenomenal. The physics are pretty dang good. It's a really good layout for a pinball table. This deserves to be much
higher. Yeah, I agree.
So much better than almost everything we've mentioned when we started, dogging on tables.
It even gives like some of the stuff that Farsight's put out a run for its money.
Yeah,
even though it's a single table, it's amazing looking.
Yeah. So anyway, that really shocked me that it was that low, and that's what I'm finding interesting about this list, because it's just like, wow, people's taste is it. You really get to see a lot of it has to do with the money. It is
all about the money. Yeah. All about the money, and that's the really sad thing. Like a lot of these games where the developers have got to pay the bills, and they've got to actually charge. And this is the thing that like shocked me a little bit when I joined Steam. It's like you pay a lot more in Steam for games than you do on mobile. But I think people, for whatever reason, they expect mobile pricing for PC games now.
Yeah.
And I had to rethink my perception of price value when I joined up in Steam, because I know that games like Yoku's Island and like Pinball Wicked, they have a lot more going on in them than a mobile game can do. And for that reason, a lot more work has to go into them. So you've got to pay more. But people, the thing is that people will be probably quite happy to pay the $2 to get crappy 2D graphics and limited rules and whatever, because it's $2 and they don't really care. Like they don't want a deep experience. They don't want shiny graphics. They just want a cheap thing to play when they're, I don't know, at home bored.
I guess entertain them briefly. Now, following Pinball Wicked, everything else now has less than 1,000 downloads.
Okay.
So coming in with 951 downloads, Babylon 2055 Pinball.
Yeah, I played that. It's rubbish.
Yeah, it looks like rubbish. It's a top-down, looks like mobile.
It is mobile. That's where it actually started. Yeah.
Okay.
It's gross.
It'll run you $4, and it's not $4.
It's not even worth that. No. Sorry.
Again, following in the next two are also top down. The next two are done by the same developer, actually.
Yeah, Babylon 2055 was, and then there was another one.
Then there's Quantic Pinball.
Yeah, gross.
831 831 downloads, and then those two were the same. And then there's Pinball Deluxe Reloaded.
That's top down, but it's actually not bad.
It's got more. It's got a more dimensional look to it. It's not terrible looking.
It's top down, but it's actually sort of like with modeled elements in it, not
exactly.
flat elements. Yeah,
exactly.
I played that one on mobile, but it requires you to unlock some of the other tables. But for a top-down pinball machine, it's actually probably the best top-down pinball machine out there.
Runs you $8 for the whole pack.
And that's about the same as on mobile.
That had 725 downloads. Now, in next is a game called Pinball Parlor. If you look this one up, Jared, it looks amazing. It's an EM. It is photorealistic. It's a completely, it's not modeled after anything, but apparently they got advice from John Popadyak and Steve Kordek with design. They actually built a prototype and put it into a Japanese arcade.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
And it's made by a Japanese developer, which you'll hear when you listen to I guess at some point you're spelling the letters parlor based on what you're in it. And it's a definitive Japanese accent. Yeah, and you can play the Whitewood version. You can play the Whitewood, or you can play the fully graphicked out version. It looks really good.
It does, yeah.
Is it's $13.
What?
Yeah,
$13 for one table.
For one table, and it's not going to be anywhere as deep as Pinball Wicked. I guarantee you that.
Oh yeah, I see John Popadyak in the trailer. Yeah, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't this one? I don't even think came up on my. Oh wow, yeah, they did make a whole table. Gee.
I mean, it looks really good, right? I mean, it has
$13, mate.
It has a solid look. If you look at how the ball bounces and everything, it looks and
it plays like an
EM. Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. It looks really realistic.
Now it's only got 325 downloads, and again, price, baby. That's
man.
You ain't making back your development costs with that price and that few downloads.
No way. I might actually just add that one to the wish list for the next time it goes on sale, because it looks like it could be a bit of fun.
Yeah,
but I don't want to do it for that much for $13.
The problem is that it came out, I believe, 2 years ago. Yeah, so it's not even like if we, I don't want to hit them up and be like, hey, how about throwing us a bone here and we'll give you some publicity, because I think they're past.
Probably don't want it.
They written it off now.
Yeah, but it looks like they've actually put into they've actually put into the photos the actual photos of the table itself, not necessarily in-game experience, unless that is the in-game experience and that everything looks almost like a real table, like the textures on this thing, if it is actually what I'm thinking. Like they've even got the rubbers with that sort of slight sort of crazed texture on them and everything. Wow, if that's the case, then it's very photorealistic, but yeah, for $13.
No, I think this probably is very much like Pro Pinball Ultra, where you're only going to get one camera angle. It's probably pre-rendered.
It doesn't look like it. You can get a top-down angle, and
you can get a complete top-down angle.
But
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, for $13, I'm not going to find out either.
No. For half price, yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe if I'm bored.
Now I mentioned Pro Pinball. Pro Pinball's not on this list at all.
Wow, really?
They don't have achievements.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So they don't make the list. So
and I wonder if that's why I haven't seen Rollers of the Realm on there as well. Is Rollers of the Realm in there?
I will look that up real quickly in a second. We're down to our last table. I want you to look at it, Jared, because it is the absolute utter piece of crap of the entire thing, and it deserves to have fewer than the 138 downloads that it has, because they're asking $2 for this pile of tripe.
What is
It's
it?
called Pinball 2018.
Oh, yeah, I saw that when I was doing my search on Steam for pinball, because it does have pinball in the name.
Yes.
And let me just load this atrocity. Oh, Jesus, yeah, this thing. I don't even know what this is. Like, it's like this. Oh,
it is.
It's
two play fields side by side, folks. When I say two play fields, it's basically two open spaces with little tiny blips for things to hit, and a pinball that bounces
like a Super Bowl.
Yeah, like a Super Bowl in no gravity. There are no outlanes.
Terrible.
It's only center drain if you were to do that. Everything about it is terrible. This is
playing it.
This is what happens when people that don't play pinball try and design pinball, and they also have no knowledge of pinball. Basically, they looked at the zombies table and went, "Hey, what if we put two of them side by side?"
Yeah, wow.
And then forgot to fill in everything.
Oh, jeez, that is just terrible.
Okay, you were talking about Rollers of the Realm?
Yeah, Rollers of the Realm.
Now, is that a pinball game?
Well, yeah, it is. It doesn't have pinball in the name, but it is actually, if you look it up on Steam, it is basically, this is the one that friend of the show, Jeff Strong, put me onto, ages ago when I was still on mobile. This would be about 2 years ago now, I think. And he said he was having a really fun time with it. And I remembered when the sales were on, I thought, oh, Rollers of the Realm. And I was doing my search for pinball on Steam. I thought, oh, that sounds familiar. So I loaded it up, and I think it worked out to, it hit me about, I think, $3 on sale. I thought, oh, I can take a risk for $3. And it's fun. It's a little bit like Momonga Pinball Adventures in the fact that it's like a 3D perspective of the tables. But you've got these characters that are actually balls. And it's an RPG, but with pinball.
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing it right now. How about that?
It's really good, actually. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And it's not as easy as it looks either.
Here's what's interesting. It places directly behind Zaccaria Pinball. Directly behind it, whereas Zaccaria has 48,795 downloads. This has 48,769 downloads. So it's nipping at the heels right there.
So it's there, but it doesn't have pinball in the name, so it probably didn't come up for you.
Right, so it didn't come up.
Yeah, it's a fun game. Like, I'm really enjoying it. And for the price, particularly when it was on Steam sale, yeah, it's worth the money. It's a lot of fun.
Wow.
It's story driven. Like, there's actually like a voice narration in it, and all the characters have there's a plot and everything like that. It's well constructed.
Based off your description, it almost reminds me of I used to play all these. Oh, geez, now I can't even. The match 3 crystals in a row kind of games.
Yes.
And there was one that came out on the PSP, and it was RPG style though. So it wasn't just as fast as you could knock down three in a row. You would knock 3, and then your enemy would knock 3. And based on how many of the particular color you collected, that would then wind up hurting, being used for spells or damage. And so it was much more cerebral, much more slowed down, that style of game. And I loved it, but it was so very interesting because it was taking your classic column style game and adding in RPG elements. So you're saying this is kind of like pinball, but with RPG elements in it, which is kind of
The thing that's really cool about it is that you've actually got the balls have different attributes to them. So there's one ball that's like the rogue, and so if you're trying to build up your gold and mana from all the player characters on the table, you can basically, if you hit them from the behind, you basically lift their pockets. You pick their pockets and you get all the gold out of them. And then there's another character who is like a knight, and he's got really strong damage, but he doesn't. You can't really control him very well. So the thing with this game is that you can actually you can move the ball around a little bit like tilt. Like, the table doesn't tilt, but the ball is actually guidable to an extent.
Okay.
So you can and you need to be able to do that because there's some elements of the game that require you to guide the ball through passages and stuff like that. And you wouldn't be able to do that if it was just pure table physics. But once you get used to that, it's a really fun game. It really is. It's great.
Well, that's it for the list, folks. If there are any other pinball games that you were thinking about and you want to look it up for yourself, again, we'll post the link for your ability to download this the spreadsheet, basically. Now, be aware that Steam quickly closed the leak. So
yeah,
this info is pretty much good for this week, and who knows, beyond that. Download numbers are going to change, obviously, but
this is a snapshot in time.
Yeah, but it was still very fascinating to see, especially just to see that I honestly expected FX3 to have more downloads than Pinball Arcade. I don't know why, or at least to be relatively close, and for them to be skunked by almost 100, or not 100,000, by almost 500,000 downloads, is crazy.
Very strange. Yeah, very strange.
Really crazy. I gotta wonder in the coming months with fewer table releases and no Williams and Bally releases, how that's going to affect the Pinball Arcade downloads, and if people are going to start switching over to Zen. I don't know.
Well, it could be a factor because there's in the past that was a thing that people would have gone, oh well, I see this table's been released, I'll download the actual game to get access to it.
Yeah,
but there's nothing really coming out. I mean, we know what the next couple of tables will be in the proposed Season 8. And a lot of the tables, I mean, apart from Big Buck Hunter and Woe Nelly, there's the tables that are already in Stern that will probably come over as well. And, if people are rabid fans, they'll already have those in the Stern app. So,
well, they've already come over. That's caused some distress among people. If you load up TPA right now, you'll see that AC/DC, Mustang, and Star Trek are available now. Problem being is that they're only available in table packs, which if you had already had table packs that you just purchased because you were trying to beat the deadline, well, now you already own everything that's in those table packs except for those 3 particular tables, and unfortunately you can't single purchase the tables right now. They don't have that implemented yet. Yeah. So
this is in Steam.
This is in Steam. So there's some angry people. Well, I think it's across the board. I don't know. Well, maybe not mobile, but definitely on console. People on console are also complaining about this.
Yeah. Well, I could say that we're in the midst of beta testing an Android release, which does bring in the Stern tables in, and we've got the usual problems where the launch buttons aren't doing what they're supposed to do, and all those sort of things that obviously are wired slightly differently in the Stern app. So but they're in there, and I think purchasing is actually working correctly. You can purchase the tables individually in Android. So obviously they've taken that into account from the feedback they got in the console and the Steam arenas.
I always just advise this: patience, folks.
Yeah, just cool your heels.
Never be a first on the front line with a Farsight product, because there's going to be a patch coming out, and if you're going to throw a fit, and then you're going to throw your money down in rage, and then they're going to come out with the patch, and you're like, you open, and it's like,
exactly.
If you just could have waited 2 weeks, you would have, all would have been well.
Yeah, but the thing is that the other side of it too is as a consumer that's not us, and it's not living and breathing digital pinball and doesn't know the ins and outs of it and doesn't know the 7 or 8 year history of Farsight, they should make it a lot more apparent to consumers what's going on. And they should probably not blow the cherry early and release stuff that they shouldn't release it early as well. Take that as Zen's book and actually roll out something properly.
My favorite bit of complaining this week was from somebody complaining that they were like, Farsight promised that I'd be able to buy the tables on Steam through June, and on June 31st I wasn't able to buy the tables.
Is that June 31st, mate?
Yeah, That's what I went
Which
there.
calendar system are you?
31st. They pulled them on June 30th. I'm like,
Yeah, mate. That's the date. Sport.
maybe look at a calendar and educate yourself there, because
June 31st. Wow. There's always someone.
Right?
Always someone.
And part of the reason why it cracked me up was this person wrote a very, very lengthy post.
Yeah.
I mean,
I saw it.
Very lengthy.
It was huge.
and that wasn't the only very lengthy post that they made either. So it was just kind of cracked me up. I had a problem with the once Pinball Arcade updated for this new version of table packs and everything, and that suddenly my Avast antivirus software, it no like Pinball Arcade DX11 version. It sent it straight into the virus vault.
Ooh.
And I went, well, why is it doing that? And it claimed that it was carrying this Alexa 51 virus that is a nasty piece of malware, or can be. However, apparently it's also a false positive virus that affects a lot of online or multiplayer games. And all I can think of is that because Farsight wants you to log in, that maybe that was triggering it. And while it triggered mine, other people were saying it wasn't triggering theirs. I don't know. So I contacted Farsight. They were like, it's false positive. I downloaded a Malwarebytes to make sure that my computer was clean. It was clean. I tried deleting Pinball Arcade twice and re-downloading it. Still kept on doing the same thing. Eventually, I turned Avast off and ran the program, and it ran, and the Malwarebytes didn't find anything vicious. So I went ahead and made an exception within Avast for it. But the problem was it was stopping the execute file.
Oh, wow.
But what was weird was it had no problem with DX9.
Oh, so it was DX11.
It was DX11 only that it was triggering. Yeah. So, yeah, a little odd bit of stuff, but I'm solved now, so that's all good.
That's Windows for you, man. Yeah, gee, I've been having a whole lot of trouble. Yeah, it's one of those things that if you don't have Apple devices and your kids have to use Apple devices for school, and you want to set them up as a family account, and you did that when you actually had a Mac, and it was working really well, and now you don't have a Mac and you don't have an iPhone of your own, it turns out it is actually impossible to manage an Apple family account without an Apple device. And that is absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
Luckily, for Zachary next year, he's going to a Surface Pro, because they only do iPads for the first 3 years here in schooling, because they're quote unquote easy for preschoolers and young kids to use.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zachary will be moving over to a Surface Book Pro, which is great because Microsoft have their own family account system too, which is quite neat.
Yeah. My son's school went to Chromebooks.
Chromebooks, yeah.
So, which I was reading a thing about how Apple has kind of dropped the ball on the school thing, because instead they introduced the iPad with the pencil, of which is just one more thing for the kids to lose.
Yep.
And it's not cheap to replace.
No.
And the iPad itself is nowhere near as durable as, say, a Surface Pro or a Chromebook. And those are significantly less for schools to purchase than the iPad is.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Even with generous discounts that Apple offers education. And so here I am having to basically spin up Sienna's iPad because she's coming into the ePals program at school. And I'm going to have to do one or two things. I'm going to have to basically dual approve every single app that gets installed on her iPad. And I don't even think I can. I actually don't think I can set up a new Apple device without another Apple device. It is absolutely terrible. I just feel like going to an Apple store and saying, make this work for me. and just going, look, I bought this thing. I can't get this thing set up on a family account. You're basically forcing me to go and buy an Apple product to administer my family account. Like, surely there is some sort of consumer law that is in Australia that would say that is absolute rubbish. It feels like it is. I don't know, but it's very frustrating.
So you see, even the big companies make boneheaded mistakes.
Yeah, like, see, with Android, the thing that wouldn't bother me is that with Android you can set up multiple profiles on one device. So I could set up my account and Sienna's account on her iPad, and I could run both happily. I could just log in, log out, switch users, no problem.
Right.
But with iPhone, it's one account per device. See, that would solve the problem.
It would.
But no. So I'm very annoyed with Apple at the moment.
Well, what are you gonna do? Fight Apple? Yeah, good luck. They got good lawyers.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a choice. I have to find some way of doing this. So I might have to actually, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Find a cheap Apple device, maybe like a junk.
I was going to say, go find somebody's iTouch.
Yeah, that's all I need, because all I need is to be able to approve purchases.
Yep.
And access the family stuff, and I can do that on any iDevice.
Yeah.
So I just need to go to Cash Converters or like one of the Hock shops here and just get a absolutely stuffed iPhone as the admin portal for it. And the thing is, next year, like, Zachary's iPad will become available, so like I can use that as a management tool for Sienna's iPad. But I just don't want to. I just don't want to have to buy something.
Yeah,
it's crap. Anyhow.
All right. Well, on that note, folks, we're going to part ways here. But if you want to chime in on anything that we've been talking about, why don't you go hit up our Twitter at BlahCade. You can also go ahead and follow Jared. He's at Jared Morgs. Or you can do so with me. I am at Shut Your Trap. Shut Your Traps. Yeah, that's what I have it on there. See, I really, some of my things are singular, some of them are plural, and I always get confused. But yeah, at Shut Your Traps. Or you can also drop us an email. We are BlahCade Pinball at gmail.com.
It's just BlahCade at gmail.com, actually.
Oh my God, I'm on fire today, right? Yeah, why don't you just go ahead and give the website address then, because I know I'm going to botch that too.
So the website for the pinball is for the pinball, and the site thing is digitally-pinbally-doodly.com/pinballs. No. it's BlahCadePinball.com/episodes. Or just go to Medium and search for BlahCade Pinball Podcast, because it's actually there.
Yeah.
The URL is just a URL shortener, so we can jump to Medium site. So there you go.
There you go. All righty. Well, who knows what next week holds for us? Hopefully it'll be something just as interesting as these all these numbers.
Numbers and facts.
Numbers and facts. They are. So and go check out some of these different pinball games that are available, and you might count yourself lucky with what we have available to us. You might discover something that is more your fancy, that you enjoy. So to each his own, that's what I say. And if you want to go ahead and gift us Pinball Parlor, feel free to, because
because I don't think we could spin it for $14.
Alrighty. So until next time, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.